Hello everyone, Ember here and welcome back to a new video. In this one I'd like to talk about Research Lab, which was banned in GLC when Paradox Rift was released. So yeah, it's a bit of a late video in talking about the subject matter, but I just wanted to go out and talk about it because realistically you don't really get many chances to make GLC videos nowadays without accidentally copying someone else, and I'm sure there's plenty of other videos out there talking about why Research Lab was banned and such. But I just thought it was interesting to go over and, just what questions does it pose for the future of GLC in general. So just can get into it. So why was it actually banned? So I should probably talk about what it is in case you didn't play in the Sun and Moon era or you didn't play GLC. Basically, it says once during each player's turn, that player may search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon that evolve from unidentified fossils, and you can put those Pokemon straight onto their bench and shuffle their deck afterwards, and if a player searches their deck in this way, their turn ends. So, funny enough, I never noticed this before recording this video, but even if you didn't get a Pokemon, it would still end your turn, but yeah, either way. So it does end your turn, which is a pretty big deal, and it's one of the reasons why I think this card is actually more balanced than it's given credit for. But basically, Mahone and the team had this to say about why it was banned. Pokemon Research Lab consistently accelerates Pokemon that evolve from unidentified fossil into play as early as the first turn of the game, while going first. So it is a stadium, so you can use it on the first turn of the game, which is nice. Which can grant an unfair advantage to fossil-based decks. Okay, fair enough. We'll talk more about this in a little while looking at the combos. But okay, that's fair. The second point they made was also that besides putting evolution Pokemon into play instantly, the stadium also circumvents the singleton rule of GLC by placing 2 Pokemon that both evolve from the same Pokemon into play at the same time. Which is interesting, because this issue wasn't really brought up before with other cards. But basically, unidentified fossil, in case you're not super familiar, is basically just an item fossil that can evolve into different stage 1 fossils. So what this stadium is basically saying is that you can run different evolutions, but the catch is that these Pokemon are obviously not the same. So it's not like being able to get 2 different versions of Electrode out into play, for example. This is quite literally 2 very different Pokemon. So like Aerodactyl and Archeops, for example, or Aerodactyl and Archon, I should say, are 2 very different things as opposed to, getting 2 different versions of the same card into play. I just thought that was worth highlighting and bringing up. But yeah, interesting reasons to say the least. However, they did also talk about the problematic combos, mainly just Aerodactyl and Archeops, to be fair. So this Aerodactyl came around in the Sun and Moon era, and it's very, very powerful in GLC. For 3 colorless energy, it does 180 damage, because there's no GX Pokemon or EX Pokemon, of course, allowed in GLC. So 180 for 3 colors is very efficient thanks to energy like Triple Acceleration Energy, and Archeops, which is another thing that's able to get into play quickly thanks to Research Lab. So Archeops has the ability, of course, Primal Turbo. So it just means you can consistently set up attackers with all these powerful energy, and you have access to powerful colors energy as well through Archeops. So yeah, very potent combos. There's also one more combo that's probably worth talking about, and that's with Omnistar and Kabutops. This combo is admittedly, I would say, a fair bit harder to get going because you have to work with fighting type support, which is just virtually non-existent in GLC, funnily enough. But you basically get an Omnistar into play that says your opponent can't play any items if you have fewer Pokemon in play than your opponent. And then you get a Kabutops into the active spot, which basically says your opponent can't play any supporters. So you just try and item lock and supporter lock them. I don't know how good this deck in GLC actually is. I'm assuming it's not great, but, it's just something else that will no longer be able to be played, basically, thanks to Research Lab being banned. But, I just thought it was worth mentioning. So there were some other fossils that were nerfed. Now, I'm not saying these guys are very competitive in GLC or very playable, really, in most sense. They're not terrific or anything, but I still thought they were worth bringing up because it just means that if you're interested in playing these fossils at any point, like maybe Tyrantrum happens to be your favorite fossil Pokemon or something, then being able to build a Tyrantrum deck is just that bit much harder, thanks to Research Lab being banned. But yeah, should something else have been banned? So one of the reasons why Research Lab is kind of easy to find on the first turn of the game is thanks to cards like Guzma and Haller and Tag Call. So Tag Call is an item that will find Guzma and Hala, the supporter card, which you can still find with stuff like Pokegear if you really need to, which will allow you to find a Stadium, a Special Energy, and a Tool card. So these are very, very powerful cards. Then, of course, you have the question, should you ban Aerodactyl or Archeops? I personally don't think most of these cards warrant a ban. If I was to ban anything personally, I would either take out Aerodactyl or Guzma and Hala, which is probably rather controversial. I'm not going to say it's like the best thing or the right thing to do, but you know, Colorless has access to very many, like a lot of powerful attackers. Like I don't think it really needs Aerodactyl as well, but you know, either way, should something else have been banned? This is more of like a general question to make. Like, do you think anything should have been banned at all? You know, do you think Colorless was strong enough to be warranting this? Well, I think Colorless is pretty strong anyway. That's pretty undisputed. But, you know, should something else have been banned, basically, not just Research Lab? Or should something else have taken its place? But yeah, Colorless is already kind of broken. This has been sort of hinted at throughout the video. We've already got stuff like Snorlax that does 180 for 3 colors, and that's on a basic. You know, like Aerodactyl does it for 3 colors on a stage 1, but of course we have the Research Lab to cheat Aerodactyl into play. But you know, Snorlax is still a basic that you can find with Nest Ball and Quick Ball and whatever, so still very easy to get out. You've got powerful colorless energy, so that's another thing about Archeops, is you can accelerate all these powerful energy cards. And you even have Porygon Z if you want to, with Crazy Code allowing you to accelerate any amount of the special energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So yeah, Colorless, not as if it really needs any more buffs at this point. But yeah, some closing thoughts. Personally, I don't think it will nerf Colorless that much, just judging based on the fact that we've already got so many powerful Colorless Pokemon. The ban doesn't feel as warranted as some of the other bans, like Kyogre I thought was way more problematic than this, but you know, it's still in good effort to help balance Colorless out, and I can't help but respect that. But at the same time, it just doesn't feel as necessary, really, as some of the other bans. And it feels more like a poke at fossils that's not really going to address any of the serious issues with fossils, I would say. But that's just my opinion. You know, I'm interested to know what you think, especially if, you know, you're a really big GLC player. Like, I don't play GLC now as much as I want to. So, you know, let me know if you are a GLC player. Like, what do you think about this? But it does feel like more cards might not be so safe from the banhammer now. So, you know, if you think about any other cards that could potentially buff one typing or one particular deck, that make them really popular. So I know that Guzzlord from the Dark deck is probably not going to get banned anytime soon. But, you know, if they were ever to print a card that could, you know, make that one more powerful, then maybe they could consider banning it. So, you know, it just makes you wonder what else isn't safe from the banhammer. But yeah, this has been Emma Power. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, I should say, thank you for watching.